everybody, welcome back. We're going to continue on with our Spring Botanic album. We're going to finish matting, probably going to make the side pocket inserts, and we're going to make this pocket on the front. And that may be as far as we get today, we'll see. All right, let's start with this pocket. So you're going to need to cut a piece that is 4.5 by 5.5. You want to score one long edge and one short edge, okay? Now, we are going to go ahead and trim out this one corner that we have. And I didn't do a very good job of that. Let's see if I can fix that. Okay, there we go. And we can trim these two corners as well. And what we're making is a secretarial pocket, which is a favorite of mine, especially on covers, and particularly in an album like this that actually may get used with a purpose. This is supposed to be a garden journal. Can't find my little sleeve for the scissors. Oh, well, there it is. Okay. All right, so let's set this aside. Here's our pocket. And I'm going to grab my score tape and a pencil. And I'm going to use, you can use whatever round thing that you have that's of a size you like. I think I might want one that's a little more full. I want my circle a little bigger. Okay, so I'm just lining it up. Turn it so I can see the top and the bottom, so that I have one edge along the top and one edge along the side. And then I'm just drawing a circle, which I'm going to cut. I didn't draw the full circle, I just drew the arc. I just want to draw a curve. Excuse me if my head is getting in the frame. I'm having a hard time seeing my pencil line. Okay, there, that's pretty good. And don't forget which tape you used. Set it aside because you're going to need it to cut the mat as well. And actually I could go ahead and do that, Matt. So let me see. I have scraps everywhere. So I'm going to use this piece for the background of the pocket. And I've got this here, so let's see, what have I got that will work? I'm down to my last little scraps. I probably will end up cutting into the other piece. Well, that's kind of nice, it matches that. It's from the same, that's what I use. I still have to make the side pocket inserts. I still, tags are not going to be a problem because there's so many cut aparts. But we'll see. I'm going to still see if I can get away with not cutting into that second curve. I'm not going to hold myself to it. If I need it, I'll cut it. All right. What I did was just cut this little edge off. It had some glue on it from where it was attached into the packaging. Okay. So this piece, I'm going to go ahead and mat this before I put it in. All right, so I need a piece 3.5, excuse me, that was 3 3/4. Yeah, 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. So your mat needs to be 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. The mat. I'm going to need to do the same thing with the mat that we did with the pocket, but what I like to do is lay the mat on the pocket, take the, let me move this out of the way. Okay, I've got mat sticking out. So lay it on the pocket where it's going to go, take the same curved tool that you used. Whoops. You can tape it in place if you need to. and lay it on there, and then just arrange it so that it looks like it's going to give you a good reveal on the curve, and give it a trace, and then trim that. You do not have to do this curved. If you feel like you don't want to do that, just don't worry about it and just do it straight. There. Okay, so that's going to go there. Let's go ahead and ink that up and put it down. And before I put this down, because I have trouble picking things up, I'm just going to fold and burnish these over. Okay. And I'm using my art glitter glue. If you're coming across this video and we're in the middle, there is a playlist for it. Just check my playlists and you'll find it. It's the Botanic Garden album. I just usually name my albums after the paper I use. It's easier. Whoops, smeared some of that glue. That's all right. We have our baby wipe. Let's wipe that. Oh, that's pretty. I like that a lot. Okay. Now, glue on my hand. Okay. Get the ink out of the way and the pencil. And we're done with this tape. Get that out of the way to keep our working space clean. Okay. So we're going to put the side tab down first. Add a dab of glue. Put the bottom one. Press that. I'm just smearing that glue a little because we're going to use it anyway. And then glue the bottom and the side. One thing you can do with these, and I'll show you in a minute, is you can actually put a pocket on top of this pocket, which I like to do. And I don't know if I'm going to on this one or not, but I'll show you. Okay. So this gets lined up with the bottom and side edge of the cover. Okay, you can bring it in just a hair, but don't bring it in too much. You want to make sure it's not overhanging, but you want it right in that corner. Okay. All right. And what I was saying is you could cut a straight pocket and just put it here, and then you'd have a little place to tuck things plus here. And we may do that further down the road, but I don't usually do that until I'm at the embellishing stage. Okay, so now we need to cut our big mat to go in here, and that will be, let's see, looks like 4.5 by 6.5. Let's see. Okay, so everything, try to decide which end I'm going to cut from. I really like this pink moth, and it's not going to show if I cut this mat from here, so I'll cut the mat from up there, my 6.5. Okay, and I'll find another place to use that. With that, it's a little tricky because you've got the folded tabs, but because it shows all the way to the bottom, you still have to cut it full size. Yeah, that looks really nice. I like that. Okay, and let's go ahead and ink that. I'm using Distress Ink Walnut Stain throughout this book. I thought about using some of the vintage, what is it, Victorian Velvet, the pink, because I was originally thinking I might use some pink cardstock on the photo mats. And I still might, but thus far I've only used Craft, which you've not seen yet, but you will in a minute because I've already cut them to be used. All right. And let's go ahead and do this one. I'll warn you right now, you might be hearing a little bit of a fuss because I kicked my kittens out of the room and shut the door because they were insisting on getting below my desk and chewing power cables. So they were banished and they are not happy about it. All right, let's make sure we put this in there right side up. Okay, so I'm gonna tuck that in there. Try and get it inside those tabs and then slide it down, which is tricky, but we can do it. There we go. Done. Got glue all over my fingers in the process, but we got it done. And this paper is so pretty. I really like it a lot. Okay, and let me grab a scrap of something. Just want to make sure I didn't glue my pocket closed. All right, so we've already done that. We have to do the belly band, and I just wanted to show you I cut this out of the Craft. All right, so let's go ahead and start with not the belly band, the waterfall. All right, so I cut this piece out of Craft, and then I took, from this page, I cut the hyacinths. So this piece is I cut this a little shy. It's just shy of 2.5 and just shy of 5.5. And I'm gonna put it this way. I mean, it'll be upside down then, but it'll be right side up when it's open. So that's how we're doing it. Hear that thud? That was the cats. Sorry, I think I'm off camera. Slide that up. And you want to slide this one so that it's a little bit away from that fold because it's going over a lot of bulk. You want to keep the bulk away from that fold. That's really pretty. Okay. Now what I've done for the waterfall is I've got pattern paper on the front and Craft cardstock on the back. So, and I've already inked them. And just go ahead and measure the space that you need and cut yours 1/4 inch smaller. The ones for the waterfall are going to be, should be 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. And this bottom one is larger. It's 3 1/4 by 3 3/4. But measure yours because everybody's could be just slightly different depending how you glue, how you cut, how you fold it. So just make sure before you cut everything the same size as mine, just measure, always measure. Whenever you're doing somebody else's tutorial, when they give you a measurement, especially for mats, just double check it. I also strongly advise that you watch a whole episode, if it's episodic, or just the whole video before you start in, and then go back and start. And because, you know, people make mistakes. So I make mistakes. You correct yourself, you go back, and you don't want to go ahead and repeat the mistake that I've made because you were rushing ahead without watching the whole thing. I try to, if that does happen, I try to put a disclaimer, you know, a text on the screen so you can see, hey, don't do this, wait, or something like that. but I might miss it. So just watch and see exactly what to do. It's kind of like a recipe. You know, read ahead with all the steps before you do the whole thing. Don't you love when that happens? You're doing a recipe and you're thinking everything's going fine, and then you get to a step that says, you know, rest for 24 hours. And you have to send out for pizza. Okay. And I just cut all of these pieces from scraps. Sometimes when I'm doing a waterfall, I go back and put a little piece there, but this particular paper doesn't have a lot of really dark tones. There aren't any dark papers to speak of in the collection, so I'm just going to leave that because I think it helps to have some dark in a book, and in this case, the green cardstock is acting as the dark, that and the darks that are in the actual prints. I find that's true of a lot of Stamparius papers, is they don't necessarily have a paper that's specifically dark, but the papers themselves typically do have darks in them. You know, like this very dark burgundy on that one. I'm trying to think of everything I've made, whoops, with the Stamperia, and I think, I'm not 100% sure, I'm trying to remember, but I'm pretty sure I've used a dark cardstock on every album I've made that uses Stamperia paper. I tend to lean to the dark cardstocks anyway. I used to make almost all my albums with white, but now I pretty much use the darks. Although I'm making one right now out of white. It's a Christmas one using the Santa Baby from Prima. I'm kind of working on it between other projects because obviously there's no rush. I like the craft with this paper, but I didn't use it as the primary paper for the reason I spoke about a minute ago, was I felt like I needed something with more depth. This is coming out really pretty, if I say so myself. And again, I inked all of these with the walnut stain. And I don't know as I did that. I'm looking at this right now. Can you see this band? I did notch that with my corner chomper from We Are Memory Keepers. You don't have to if you don't want to. I don't think I did that on camera. And I thought about using a corner rounder on these waterfalls, but I ended up deciding not to. But if you like that look, it would look pretty. Just go ahead and do it when you're assembling the waterfall, if you have not already. But if you have already assembled it, you can still usually get in there and chomp those corners if you want to. There's a kitty trying to break in. I feel bad because they like to be with me all the time. And obviously, like all cats, they don't like to be on the wrong side of a door. And they never try to chew wires like other places in the house, lamp cords or anything like that. It's only in here under my desk where I've got the lights for, you know, for filming my videos and my computer and my silhouette. You know, I've got just various cables and whatnot under there, and for whatever reason, I've got one of them in particular who just keeps going after them. I don't think I centered that one very well, but that's okay. Waterfalls take a lot of mats, but by the same token, they'll also hold a lot of pictures. I like to include those in albums too, for that reason. Because I don't include a lot of space for pictures in my albums usually. I mean, you can always put pictures wherever you want on top of the pattern paper, that's fine. But I don't specifically have too many photo spots in particular in my albums, like where I put like just plain cardstock instead of pattern paper, because I just really love the pattern paper and want to use it. So I find a waterfall is a good place to get a lot of pictures into an album. There we go. And just a couple more. Glue there, but that's all right. All right, just flip through and make sure I didn't glue any of these shut. Okay, that's fine. All right, and last one. Several of these came from the cover, including this piece. So don't forget, the cover on Stamperia is the same weight as the rest of the paper, so you can go ahead and use it, and you should. And they've recently started putting a print on the inside of the cover, which just makes it that much more usable. Okay. Oh, so pretty. I like that. Okay. Look at that. That is so pretty. Okay, we're still going to do some other embellishments. Okay, and I did this off camera. This is the last mat and I haven't picked yet, but I still have this little belly band to do. And you could use a print if you want, but I think I wanted more contrast here. So I'm just going to use this, well, they're both prints, but you see what I mean. I'm using the back side, the B side, for this belly band. And again, you just want to measure your belly band and take off 1/4 inch from either side, and that will be your size. I like about an 1/8 inch reveal, and that's what that will give you. When you're using a paper like this one that I cut from the edge of the page, oh my goodness, a lot of glue there. A lot of times you will see that they've done some aging to the edge of the paper along the bottom and the side here. Make sure when you use a paper like that, that you place that thoughtfully. I usually put it in a bottom corner like this. Especially when it's sitting in the middle of the page like this, having it dark along here and here wouldn't make sense, so it's here. All right, so let's take a look and see where we're at. We still have a few things we need to pick out that I haven't done yet, and we need to make those side pocket inserts. All right, so that's fully done, but this, we need a lining here, we need a mat there. This is fully done. We need the inside of that flap. And we need the same thing here, here, and here. We need the lining and the inside there. This is fully done, and we need to do the back. Inside cover, and then we need to do the covers. Okay, so we are moving along. I just need to decide on those few mats that are left. So let me do that and I will be right back. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, we finished with the mats, and I'm going to go through and show you. I've done the few that I had missed, and I want to show you about those. So let me jump back to this one. I think I had already showed you that. So I just put this little small print here, and then on this accordion pocket, I put a print here. And then I put this, just the craft cardstock here. And I think you can see I just tucked it down in there. So that's that one. And I think we've seen everything else. Now we still have this to do. I hope you could just see what I did. So we have this to do, but we're not going to do that right away because I'm actually waiting on something that I ordered that I want to use there. So again, there's that. And we had finished all of this except for that, which I just showed you. And then we had this here, and I kept referring to this as a pocket, and somehow in my mind I was thinking it was a pocket, even though it wasn't. It's a double flap. And I made it a double flap on purpose because I had an idea in mind. So I hope you can see. So I matted this with this, and this with this. And what this is, let me grab this pad, is a little piece of graph paper from this, which I can't remember where I got it, Joann's, Michael's, something like that. It's a pad of 6x6 papers that are lined or gridded, and some of them are ledger paper. And so I've had it quite a while, it's useful. And what I was thinking is, so I put a craft mat here, that you could put this here, it matches really nicely in the green, and then draw your garden plan on it, or draw the garden plan on it, and then glue it in, because of course this is supposed to be a garden journal. And if you're not using it as a garden journal, then you could put a picture. And then I just went on Google and found myself a garden plan and just glued it in there to give you an idea, you know, of what it might look like. Or you could just, if you have a nice colored drawing you've made of your garden, then you could just put it in there. Or again, you could just use the graph paper, draw out your vegetable patch, your flower beds, or whatever you're doing, and stick it in there, okay? Or a picture of a flower, whatever you like. So that's that. So all of the mats are now done, again, except for this, and then we have the covers to do and the embellishing. And I want to show you where we're at with the paper. I still have not cut into the second collection. I'm pretty sure I'm going to cut into at least 1 or 2 sheets because there's some papers that I want to use, but I want to show you what I've got left. There's that. That's something else. Now, before I started with the matting, reaching over here, I pulled out all of the cut apart sheets. So I still have this sheet and the tags and these pieces and these. And I'll probably not use all of these circles, so I could use some of this pink paper if I wanted to. But I was trying really hard to only use one collection or as close to one collection as I could, so that you would see that you didn't have to buy 2 if you're on a budget, you don't want to buy 2, or you could only get 1. So we have all of these sheets, and then we have these scraps. This is the cover, and then I have all these little scraps. I think that's the back cover. Yes, yeah, that's, this is from the front cover, and I have this quite large piece left. And I have not yet done the covers. So I think the odds are I'm going to end up cutting into that second. I haven't used this paper and I really like it. I may use the other side. But that is where we're at. So, and part of the reason, let me just bring the book back in. Now, you could stretch this even further because there's plenty of places where you could use just some craft cardstock, even here, in here. You could in here and just make photo mats, and that would stretch that quite a bit. So I could save paper there. Now we still have the 4 side pocket inserts to make, and that's one place where I think I'm going to use not too much paper. And like here where I put pattern paper, you could use craft cardstock. The back of this, well, I did use craft here, but there's that. The inside of that could have been craft. The inside of this flap. So there's places where you could save paper if you need to. But I'm pretty sure you could get this done with just one if you have to. Let me show you. Let's see. I still have this quite large piece, which would do one of the large front or back covers. And I have this piece, which would also do, so that would take care of both of the covers. And I have, let's see, I have this piece, which would work for the spine. This piece would work for the spine. And of course we have, for the embellishments, we have all those cut-apart sheets that I already showed you. So it's possible that we could get away with this whole thing on one, and it's a good size album, with just one collection. Then the side pocket inserts can be out of the either the green or the craft cardstock or both. So that would work, and maybe that's what I'll do. So I'm going to think about that. I think we're done for today. We'll come back. We will finish this back inside cover and do the outside covers, and maybe get started on the embellishments and the inserts, which are really not going to be very difficult or time-consuming, because I'm pretty much just going to use what came with the collection, because they're so beautiful. There's no reason not to use them. All right, so there's that. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit the like button if you've enjoyed this series. Feel free to ask me any questions down below. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.